And welcome back to Zach Talks Hawks. This is the place where we talk everything Seattle Seahawks football. My name is Zach, and welcome to the show. Coming off of a awesome Week 7 victory, one they absolutely needed to have against the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, buckle up, Buttercup. The Buffalo Bills are coming into town to play our Seattle Seahawks in what will be, I think, a good game to watch. We're going to talk about that on the show. We're also going to preview some keys to victory for Seattle, some things that I believe they need to get absolutely perfect if they're going to pull off an upset win over Buffalo. My predictions also for this coming week are going to come right at you here on the show. We have managed to claw our way back to 500, 53 and 53. It's like we've never even started making predictions through Week 7. We are exactly where we began. No more wins than we do losses, but no more losses than we have wins. And honestly, for my first time doing predictions on the internet, I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm feeling pretty proud about that prediction. We went 8-6 last week, and we're able to claw our way back to 500. 4-3 in upsets, by the way. Got that big upset win. Upset, at least for me, on paper. Detroit getting the win versus the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk about this awesome matchup we have with the Buffalo Bills. Some things that we need to pay attention to going into this game. The line has slowly started to migrate towards Buffalo. We started out, I believe, earlier in the week at 2.5. It moved to 3. Now it's 3.5. Generally speaking, the home team gets 3 points. So Vegas is sort of looking at this as, well, this game is going to be at least one possession in the Bills' favor. And I said this last week on, or not last week, but this past Tuesday on Joe Stevens' channel, Seahawk Talk, that honestly I look at this matchup and I see it as one where if you play it 10 times, Buffalo is going to win about 7.5 of them, and everything has to go right for the Seattle Seahawks in order to pull this one off. You can see, again, these guys are coming into this game 4-3. They are sitting atop the NFC West, with San Francisco continuing to battle injuries. We're not really sure what the Rams are doing at all. There's rumors of a Cooper Kupp trade. There's even murmurs of Matthew Stafford out there in the ether. Like, what in the world are they doing? And the Arizona Cardinals just seem to not go away. So everybody's just sort of lingering around trying to figure themselves out. And because of their easy schedule early on in the year, Seattle has the upper hand right now with the divisional lead. But they're going to have a tough one in front of them if they want to keep it. Playing against the Buffalo Bills, who, look, they were able, I'm looking at my sheet, they were able to go last week and win against a Titans team. I think that says Titans on it. Yeah, right here, my cheat sheet. They were able to go toe-to-toe with the Titans last week, and listen, the Titans aren't world beaters, but honestly, neither are the Seattle Seahawks. I think Seattle's going to present a little bit more of a challenge to Buffalo than Tennessee does. I think we are generally a tier or two up from them. But this is going to be Seattle punching a little bit higher up in their weight class when it comes to this matchup against Buffalo. Of course, these folks are going to walk into town with a bit of swagger in their step, knowing that they have Amari Cooper now into the fold. Josh Allen is going to get to know Amari Cooper a lot this week through practice, get to know one another, and Cooper's going to provide a new outlet for Allen that was already a pretty decent Buffalo offense. This team, coming into the year, they didn't have a lot of expectations, right? They lost their number one wideout, and Allen was just working with guys that eventually we had to admit was going to ride or die by the effective nature of Josh Allen. Well, it has worked. Generally speaking, the passing game for the Bills really haven't been that much of an issue as long as the running game is intact. It sort of frees things up for Josh Allen to improvise and make things happen. And with the crew that he had, things were really working for the Bills. Well, the Chiefs add a runner. Now we have the Buffalo Bills responding in kind with Amari Cooper. This matchup's going to be really tough. I'm just going to be honest with you right away. For a team that, as I said on our breakdown last week, their identity on defense is getting to the quarterback. Maybe not actually bringing the quarterback down, but pressuring the quarterback. They're still third in the league right now in quarterback pressures, but they had such a big lead early on in the season, sort of inflated their numbers with quarterback pressures. But Seattle's getting more and more healthy on the defensive front. You have Roy Robertson Harris, who we brought over from Jacksonville, sort of plug and play, kind of help out in the run game last week. He's going to be more effective this week. You're going to have Boye Mafe as he continues his tear of a season. He got a big play against the Atlanta Falcons last week. He's almost guaranteed for 1 sack a week, but he's a guy that can provide pressure right up the middle. And then Byron Murphy, who's coming back from injury, not really yet had a great opportunity to gel with this unit, although Mike Macdonald is very high on Murphy. He talks about his work ethic all the time. He's very into what Murphy brings to the table. You need to be on the football field in order to gel with your line, whether it be offensively or defensively. Murphy's trying to still learn how to do that, and this is a great opportunity for him to try to really stay disciplined when it comes to rushing Josh Allen. And that is one of my keys to victory this week for Seattle. They not only have to be effective in rushing the passer, but they have to stay disciplined in their running lanes and making sure that Allen doesn't have a way to escape the pocket. It's easy to bottle up a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, who's not very mobile, naturally, but now he's coming off of a Achilles injury. He's really not mobile. It's easy to sort of surround him and make sure he doesn't move. How disciplined is Seattle against a true dual threat quarterback? Josh Allen presents a unique challenge for this team in order when they rush the quarterback. And so often we have seen how this Mike Macdonald defense, when blitzes come, they come from guys like Witherspoon, the corners on the edge, not necessarily linebacker blitzes, although Seattle did make a key, I guess, linebacker swap with the Tennessee Titans this past week, picking up a linebacker for their arsenal. But the blitzes really come from the corner position. So how disciplined are you going to be coming off the edge, making sure you're just a body filling the hole, making sure that Allen doesn't have a way to escape? If Seattle stays disciplined in that regard, I think it's going to be a really nice game, an exciting game, because you have strength against strength. You have this pass rush, which has proven, although dinged up, they can still get to the quarterback, going against a quarterback who is really good at improvising, who's really good at making sure that he's able to get away and he's able to extend plays and find guys down the field. And the more and more he knows Amari Cooper, the more and more those chances turn out to be really, really big plays for Buffalo. Another key to victory for Seattle that I see they need to do in order to win this game is they need to stick with Kenneth Walker. We're going to talk about injury updates here in a moment. Kenneth Walker's out with an illness. He sort of got ill on Saturday, sort of muscled through it on Sunday, and I think they're just trying to baby him back right now. Nothing in terms of injury out on the football field. He just has an illness right now, which unfortunately has been the story of Kenneth Walker. If he's not injured when it comes to the football field, something weird pops up, like he's sick or he's battling the flu or something like that. This kid needs to be a huge part of Seattle's offense if they're going to win that game, both in the rushing and in the passing game. You saw last week about how Kenneth Walker can be a weapon out of the backfield when receiving the football, especially on wheel routes, using that speed, getting that one-on-one matchup with the linebacker and being able to pull away. You don't have that when you put him out wide, which is something that Grubb loves to do in this offense. Use running backs also as wideouts, spread out into the formation. Once you do that, you get a slot corner on him, somebody who's maybe more adept to get to him. How creative is Seattle going to be in their play calling to make sure they put Kenneth Walker in the right situations, especially in the passing game, to get him on those one-on-one coverages with linebackers who aren't necessarily equipped to cover such a fast, shifty running back? He's got to be healthy. He's got to be a big part of this offense, and I think Seattle needs that in order to win the game. So an effective pass rush that stays disciplined and a running back who's able to do his thing. What's my third key to victory for Seattle? Unfortunately, it has to do with something that I thought I would see a lot of when it comes out of a Mike McDonald defense, but I have not seen it yet this year. The corner play for the Seattle Seahawks has to be on point this week. You cannot let folks run 5-yard ins or simple 8-yard curl routes and have them eat you alive. Josh Allen loves those, especially with those wideouts who maybe we're not necessarily accustomed to, but we're going to get a glimpse as they come into town this week. Amari Cooper's definitely more that deep threat, that guy that's able to take the top off. But, I mean, Allen's got a rapport with some of these younger guys on these more quick, instant throw kind of routes. And all year long, Seattle on the outside has suffered when it comes to those kinds of wide receiver routes. I'm looking for excellent play out of the corners this week. Although banged up, they have to rise to the occasion in order for Seattle to win this football game. With all that said, I said at the beginning of the show, if this game is played 10 times, I think Buffalo wins. And last week, I sort of hoped against hope that Seattle would win against Atlanta, that they would get a fluky play or two and really open up the game. And that's exactly what happened. I'm not willing to do that this week against the Buffalo Bills. I think this is going to be one of those 7.5, 7 times out of 10 that Buffalo is just going to simply play their game, and they're too talented for Seattle. I think Geno and company are probably going to start out slow this week. Try to figure out who they are. They were a little bit better in pass protection last week, and Geno was excellent in avoiding the rush. He's going to need to play perfect again if Seattle wants another strong start. If they get out to a strong start, I see this being a really close back and forth game, and if that's the case, it might become one of those 3 times Seattle winds up winning. I don't see that happening, though. I see Josh Allen being a little bit too much. I see the jive between Amari Cooper and Josh Allen really start to blossom. They get a whole week of practice in this week. Cooper's got to start knowing the playbook. He doesn't have to lean on rookie wide receivers to tell him where to run on their route, on his routes in order to catch touchdowns like he did last week. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to wind up winning this one. I personally feel that this game is going to be one that's going to leave us a little bit frustrated. To the realist fans like myself, we're going to walk away from this game with the understanding that, hey, we are a good team, but we're not a great team. We're not a team that can beat up on the best of the best. And if by sheer happenstance we go toe-to-toe with this team, we might be able to eke it out because I think Geno's got that in him. I just don't think Seattle's able to get all of those keys to victory jiving now. Maybe towards the end of the season, but now they're still trying to figure each other out. Again, guys like Boye Mafe, guys like Byron Murphy, who are trying to gel together in the defensive line. That's a big ask to get done in 1 week. This offensive line with Jarrell playing at right tackle, who played excellent last week. I think he's going to have a pretty decent game this week. I don't think Buffalo's got this like premier pass rusher that's really going to fluster him. So watch out for a good game from the rookie. It's a lot to ask from this team. I think Buffalo's going to win this game. I think they're probably going to win it, let's say 28-18 probably. Maybe 21-32 or something like that. I think this is a 2-possession game. I think this is going to be a game where Seattle's going to start out slow. They're going to struggle trying to keep Josh Allen in check. Maybe Amari gets a play or two early that sort of knocks us back a little bit. And once we're behind, it's going to be hard to play catch up, and especially staying disciplined to the run game while we try to do that. It's going to be a mountain too hard to climb, and I think Buffalo's going to walk out of here with a victory. I hope they prove me wrong, but that's my prediction for this week as we look ahead into the matchup with the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a look here at our predictions. We're doing pretty good. We're 500, and to be honest, that was my goal this year in picking for the first time on the internet. Just go 500, and if I go 500, I'll be at peace with that. Right now through week 7, I'm doing exactly that, so I'm feeling pretty good. Let's take a look here at the slate of NFL games for week 8 and make some predictions. Thursday Night Football. Tonight, we have Minnesota coming out of their first defeat of the year, going toe-to-toe with the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams are hosting this one. I think this is a good bounce-back game for Minnesota. Playing against the Rams squad where there's a lot of uncertainty, I don't foresee this really being a very close game. I think Minnesota's got a lot of talent. I think Minnesota is real this year. But ultimately, the injuries and the uncertainty for the Rams will be their undoing. I think this is like probably a 8-point game. Minnesota wins tonight on Thursday night. Arizona goes toe-to-toe with Miami down in Miami. Flying cross country, playing the Dolphins. Arizona is that weird team in the NFC West that just won't go away. Kyler Murray's running around like a toddler with his hair caught on fire all the time. And if you have never seen Kyler Murray run, you need to turn it on and picture a toddler running around your house. You will never see Kyler Murray in a light other than that ever again, because he runs just like a toddler running around the house. Miami doesn't have a quarterback, plain and simple. I know Tua's back in practice. He's not going to play. So Arizona's going to win this one. I think they're going to win it big. Miami's quarterback situation is terrible. They need Tua back. I personally don't want Tua back. I just value him as a human, and yet he's pretty defiant in what he's going to do. So he's going to be back on the gridiron eventually. I don't think it's this week, and that's why I think Arizona wins. Baltimore goes toe-to-toe with the Cleveland Browns this week with probably Jameis Winston as their quarterback. Deshaun Watson getting hurt. Cleveland sort of rejoices. You never wish injury on a person, but I guess there's always exceptions to the rule. I personally don't root for injuries in the NFL, but Deshaun Watson being out for the year for Cleveland, sort of the dagger for their season. I don't think Jameis is the same kind of quarterback as Joe Flacco. I really think it was a big mistake by Cleveland to let Joe Flacco go last year. They need a pocket quarterback in order to make that offense work. And it has proven that when that happens, that offense is really, really, really good. Jameis isn't that guy. And Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league right now. So Baltimore takes this one in Cleveland. Then we have a AFC South showdown with Indianapolis playing Houston at Houston. I went back and forth with this one actually, because I feel like every time the AFC South plays each other, you just never know. I feel like it's always a toss-up. But at the end of the day, I'm going to hang my hat on an offense that I know versus an offense that is basically a coin flip every week. Houston takes this one, and I think they're going to take it big against the Colts at home. Atlanta trying to bounce back against another team trying to bounce back, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay really messed up and found out last week trying to come back against the Ravens. They fought valiantly. They tried to come back, but it cost them their two leading wide receivers. Playing against a Atlanta team coming out of a disappointing loss against the Seattle Seahawks last week. It's a good bounce back game for Kirk Cousins. I think it's got a 12-point win written all over it. Atlanta takes care of business in Tampa Bay in a game where Baker is now really going to struggle because he's not having those two primary weapons on the outside for that team. Green Bay getting a huge win last week against Houston, travels to Jacksonville to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, who suddenly have decided to win football games again. Well, that's not going to happen because Green Bay is just way too talented. This game's not going to be close. I think this game's going to be a blowout. And a prediction of the week from me is that this will be Doug Peterson's last game as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He gets fired after a big blowout loss against the Green Bay Packers. New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers traveled to New England to play the, as admitted by their head coach, soft New England Patriots. This is a bizarre storyline. Aaron Rodgers is trying to get everybody all back together again, and Jets still aren't good. You're playing New England, who's supposed to have this coach that everybody loves, and yet he comes out in his presser last week and he calls everybody soft. This is a weird team. This is a weird matchup. I'm going to pick the Jets to win in a pretty boring game. I think this has got like 16-12 written all over it. Jets win against the Patriots. The Eagles go on the road and play the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, since he's got to fight and claw now, they got no margin for error, and Joe Burrow knows it. I've gotten burnt by picking against Cincinnati. Now I'm going to start believing in them, and I'm probably going to get burnt by them. But I'm going to pick Cincinnati. It's not my upset of the week, but it is going to be an upset on paper. They're going to beat the Eagles, and then all the questions about Nick Sirianni and company are going to come flooding back to Philadelphia because it's still a circus over there. Don't let that fool you. Philadelphia is not a good football team. They just match up against really bad teams sort of kind of often. Tennessee goes on the road and plays the Detroit Lions in Detroit. This might just be the blowout of the week. I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit hung like 56 on them. Jared Goff and company are just way too strong. This is a blowout. Detroit is going to smack Tennessee this week. And I don't think this is a close game. I don't care who's playing quarterback for the Titans. I don't care who's in on this team. They've made it clear this past week they are giving up on the year. They're going to let the young guys play. Tennessee's trying to get that number one pick. They're going to lose to the Detroit Lions. New Orleans goes on the road. We don't quite know who the quarterback is for New Orleans yet. It might be Derek Carr going to play the Chargers, who, no matter what happens, they're still going to charge her. They're still going to charge her. They're still going to choke away wins and be able to snatch a loss out of the jaws of victory. And Harbaugh is doing everything he can to try to turn around the culture there in LA. And yet it's just slow. It's just not working. And yet I'm going to pick the Chargers to win just simply because I believe in Harbaugh way more than I do Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen, he needs to go. He's probably gone at the end of the year. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I already picked Buffalo to beat Seattle. Let's continue to move on. Chicago goes toe-to-toe with Washington in what is a really interesting matchup this week against two rookie quarterbacks. But we may not know that to be true until probably like Saturday. Jaden Daniels has a rib injury, a similar one that he played through in college. And he played through it pretty well. So I think he's going to play. I wouldn't be surprised if they sat him, though, because Marcus Mariota in this offense looked pretty good with, again, no pressure because Washington was already well on their way to victory last week. But I just think Washington's the better team. I think they have better weapons offensively and defensively. I still don't quite believe in Caleb Williams just yet. Call me a skeptic, but I think he might be just kind of mid. I don't see it with him quite yet. So I'm going to pick Washington, and I'm going to pick Washington whether Daniels or Mariota's the quarterback. I'm pretty confident in that pick. If Jaden Daniels plays for Washington, don't be surprised if this team wins by a healthy 2 scores. If it's Mariota, it could very well be a back-and-forth game, but I trust Marcus to win this one. My upset of the week, I'm going to take a good drink of water before we talk about this one. Because I'm cashing it in, baby. Last week I told you that the Minnesota Vikings hype train was going to derail in my upset of the week against the Detroit Lions. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take down the last undefeated team in the NFL. You heard it here first and probably only here, I am picking the Las Vegas Raiders with whoever is their quarterback, which is probably Gardner Minshew at this point. They're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, look, they beat Kansas City last year. This go-round, it's at home. Kansas City has a lot of bulletin board material. But at the end of the day, Kansas City is not a good undefeated team. They are just scraping by right now, trying desperately to get healthy. They made some trades this past week that could bolster their offense, but you're not going to see those fruits till about a month from now when those players really know the playbook. This is a classic trap game for Kansas City. They're going to overlook the Las Vegas Raiders, and you've heard it here. I'm going to pick the Raiders in my upset of the week. I've been burnt by them so much this season, and I'm a huge Gardner Minshew fan, and I know he's awful, and I know people don't like him anymore. I think this is going to be one of those like wild and crazy Gardner Minshew games, and they're going to rise to the occasion. Max Crosby's going to rise to the occasion. This Raider team needs this win, and this is like their Super Bowl. They know they're not going anywhere. They know they're not doing anything. If they can knock off the NFL's last undefeated, they're going to consider it a Super Bowl win at home. I'm picking the Raiders, dang it. I think they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're my upset of the week. Moving on, we got Carolina going to Denver. We go out of this like huge high with my upset playing now into what I consider a stinker of a game. I think Carolina's a dumpster fire. I don't believe in their coaching. I don't believe in their offense. I don't believe in their defense. I don't believe in their health, and I don't believe in whoever plays quarterback down in Carolina. Playing against Denver, who I guess has Sean Payton, who I don't really care for, but it's got to count for something. Denver wins in what is probably the equivalent of the Jets-Patriots game. It's going to be a stinker. This has got 16-12 written all over it. Denver wins in a very unimpressive game. Moving into the nightcaps for this week, we are moving to Sunday Night Football. Dallas, I see you. Going to get some revenge maybe on the San Francisco 49ers for derailing your season last year. This is interesting. Dallas is coming out of a media hailstorm because they had a whole bye week to really think over just how bad they are. And Jerry Jones has not helped them at all. He just continues to talk, and this team is just got dysfunction written all over it. Playing against an infirmary in the San Francisco 49ers. Look, they're not healthy. They're nowhere near healthy, and they just lost Brandon Ayuk for the season. I don't like picking San Francisco, but I like being right. So I'm picking San Francisco to win this one at home. The lights are bright. I think Brock Purdy's going to win this one on Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. No revenge for Dallas, and the media continues to pester Jerry Jones. Why didn't you sign Derrick Henry? Monday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers are at home hosting the New York Giants in what will be Russell Wilson's second week as the starter for the Steelers. I'm excited for this game. I really liked what I saw out of Russ last week. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not actively rooting for him at this point in his career, but it's nice to see Mike Tomlin sort of do another good thing. And he kept the ship afloat with Justin Fields, kept the locker room believing. Now Russell's back. Looks like everybody's bought into him. That's pretty good coaching. And for everybody that's saying they want to get rid of Mike Tomlin, I'm sure there's about 85% of the league that would fire their coaches and hire him in a heartbeat. Coaching matters. Skill matters. I mean, Pittsburgh's got this win written all over them, and I think they're going to win big here on Monday Night Football. Pittsburgh takes it big against the Giants. Well, that's your predictions for the week. We've went over Seattle's matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Again, I hope they prove me wrong, but I think this is going to be one of those 7.5 times out of 10 where Buffalo, the better team, is going to wind up winning this game. I got no problems though coming back here on Tuesday and being able to tell you, yeah, I was wrong. If you like what you see here, like, comment, and subscribe. I try to post every Tuesday with recaps of the Seattle matchup from the past week. Every Thursday, we do previews for the Seattle game and our predictions segment. And every time Seattle has a primetime game this season, I'm going to try to live stream it here on the channel. I love the interactions down in the comments. Please feel free. I will try to respond to as many as I can. Normally they're pretty bare though, so I'd love to be able to respond and start conversations. What do you think about Seattle's matchup against Buffalo? What do you think about your favorite team in terms of the predictions here? Maybe we got some folks who don't root for the Seahawks tuning in. I want to thank you for your view as well. My name is Zach, and in the meantime, keep talking Hawks, and I'll be back again to talk about them with you real soon.